اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق وقاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره مقدار العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل الصلاة وتم تسليما على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن هذا السادة التابعين وعلماء عاملين وعامة أربعين مجتهدين مقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, this is another the Soullutionz podcast, the relaunching of the Soullutionz podcast. We're having a discussion on current events. I'm one of your hosts, Imam Muhammad Abdullah Ameen, along with Amir Khalil Abdullahi, Imam Malik Robinson, and brother Saleh Abdul Mujeeb. And the current events that are going on, many of the events that have taken place within the past month or so. Last time we had the podcast was before Ramadan, the week before Ramadan, and we took a break, took a little break after Ramadan. So now we're back, and we'll be continuous, inshallah. We'll be continuous, consistent, back with our consistency. One of the things I wanted to talk about, it's a number of things I wanted to talk about, but I'm gonna talk about one right now. A few days ago, I did a live, and generally the live was about remaining humble, and dealing with people, treating people well, dealing with people good. And you know what I'm saying? What brought about that live, and I had a discussion with a brother that I had been knowing for some years. Did business with him. We didn't do any traveling together, but we did business together. I know him to be a Muslim. I met him, he was a Muslim. So him and I had a discussion. He had left Islam. But he was when he was Muslim, he was an individual that was like really, I wouldn't say fanatic, but he was really strict and gung-ho. A lot of stuff that I had noticed in my dealings with him is that many of his views on certain things came from his lack of understanding of certain matters. And when I spoke with him, I had a dialogue with him all that day, stemming from a post that I had put up a day before that. I reached out to him. He didn't get back with me till the next day, and we just had a discussion. Long story short, some of the things that he was saying are not different or unique to the same stuff that people say when they leave Islam. Not only that, it wasn't different at all. Not only that, but they're trying to find or justifying their apostasy by talking bad about al-Islam, as though al-Islam is what wronged them, when in actuality they all wrong themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he guides and he misguides. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides an individual, signs of that guidance is that Allah ta'ala, that person's heart becomes open. The person develops some certainty develop some solid and firmness in their resolve. They're not all over the place. They're not. Their decision. They stern in their decision. Their decision is not faith faltering and wavering. Allah Ta'ala increases them in knowledge of the religion, and Allah Ta'ala make their practice easy. Practicing the religion easy. These are all signs of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala facilitating guidance for an individual and wanting good for that individual. He make things easy to obtain. Likewise, when Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala chooses, has decided in his decree to cause a person to be misguided, that misguidance is set on a path, and everything on that path is what leads that individual to misguidance, to the point to where that individual leaves Islam. All right, you have one path. The path of guidance, where Allah Ta'ala increases the individual in guidance. And then you have the path of misguidance, where Allah Ta'ala increase that individual in misguidance. But one thing that irks me about a lot of people that leave Islam is that when they leave Islam, they never leave Islam silently. They always leave Islam and they have something horrible and horrific to say about the religion. And they down the religion. They down al-Islam, this way of life. Now, the main reason why this stuff exists is because we don't have a middle mu'mineen. There hasn't been a middle mu'mineen in existence now for 101 years now. Actually 102, because the last Khilafah of the Uthmani Caliphate was stripped of power in 1922. By 1923, he was only a figurehead. In 1924, it was totally abolished, and that came about through a series of events that took place over the past century. Which there was other Khilafahs that rose and fall. The last one that last true Khilafah, that was the mirror of the Medina community that was established by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was the Sokoto Caliphate of Sheikh Uthman Danfolio to Qadamullah bi Rahmati Ameen. And that lasted for 100 years. All right. Now there's still sultans of the Sokoto that continued on, but the Khilafah state demolished. Right. And the objective is to keep leadership and to follow leadership and obey leadership. But the reason why a lot of this stuff is taking place, like I said, is because we don't have no global leadership for the Muslims. I mean, given the fact that an individual who leave Islam, it's reported to the Qadi, reported to the Khalifa, and the individual is given 3 days to make Tawbah. After the 3 days, if the individual haven't made Tawbah, then the hudud is implemented on these individuals. That system doesn't exist now, right? And it won't exist until Imam Mahdi alayhi salam comes on the scene. So the advent of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. However, all of us as an individual, as a community of Muslims, we have to be concerned with the well-being of our brothers and sisters. We have to be concerned with the understanding that of our brothers and sisters. I mean, we have to be concerned with that, because we don't know what each of us is going through. Everyone have their own particular specific battles and vices that they're dealing with. Some people deal with mental illness to its extreme, and some deal with undiagnosed mental illness that is very minute, that's not even recognizable to their own self. They don't recognize it they self. Some, saying, some these individuals like that, these that has to be pointed out for them by someone who's examined their who looks at their behavior and their mannerisms, right? So we don't know what we're dealing with, and the fact that the individuals that Muslims we're not we've become so involved in individualisms instead of collectivism, is that that we tend to not have any knowledge of a person struggling with their iman, struggling with their deen. Won't have any knowledge of individuals who do not know their Islam, who do not know their deen, right? And so this is something that we have to um, every Muslim is a is it's a fault for it's a obligation for every Muslim to learn their religion and practice their religion. You can't practice something if you don't know it. So that was one of the things I wanted to touch on. Even though that one thing that I touched on many other different things within that one thing, and all of them are necessary to address. All of them are necessary to address. I mean, and sometimes we may give it some thought. Sometimes we don't. Like right now, um, in a series of the past weeks and months, Muslims have been returning to Allah left and right. Uh, one of the signs, one of the signs that your death is near, is that the people that are close to you, that not that are close to you, they start dying, and people that are in your own house, meaning that your family, they start dying. These are signs that your death is near as well, because the owner and possessor of everything that exists, that he takes back what belongs to him, right? So none of us own anything. Everything belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So after, saying, for a certain period of time at a time, Allah ta'ala takes back the loan. Just like Allah ta'ala gives a person iman, he guides a person. He also would take that guidance away from them. But that guidance that he takes away from them is strongly related to the path that Allah Ta'ala decreed for them to lead them to, that guidance being taken away from them. And so and the main thing to keep us mindful of that is that we have to stay humble. We have to humble ourselves. We have to humble ourselves, and we have to realize that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is not playing with us, right? Now, since some people, you may hear them say that an individual leave Islam because they don't have a strong solid creed. In a lot of cases, in some cases, that's the case. And there's many cases where the person leave Islam due to their own arrogance, and go astray due to their own intellect, right? I mean, there's some groups in the history of Islam that they became the people of innovation, related off of their extremity, being extreme into their into that in their intellect, right? In their aql, I mean, into their intellect. I mean, they became extreme in it. Anything you become an extreme in is gonna burn out. You have to have a balance. It has to be a balance. The deen of Allah, this deen of Islam, is deen to wasata. It's the middle path. Deen to wasata. It's the middle path. Meaning it's the middle path. Meaning it's a balance. There's no too far to the right, too far to the left. It's in the middle. So there's no extreme and there's no neglect. It's in the middle, and we have in everything that in our practice and our development, we have to seek the middle path. We have to find our balance. You mean, and if you don't have balance, then you fall, or you're not stable. You know what I mean, or you don't have a solid, firm foundation, right? So you have to establish a balance. I like that backdrop, Amir Khalil. You know what I mean? You at the college.
Yeah. Inshallah, assalamu alaikum to every
Like
Kathy.
slam off the to catch.
But go ahead, I'm listening now.
Yeah, I was just finishing up. So we the other thing too is that and I had touched on this a little bit in regards to our leadership. I mean, we have to respect and we have to obey leadership, but we also have to know whether to know the signs of good leadership and the signs of bad leadership. We can tolerate we can tolerate having bad leadership. What we can't tolerate is having no leadership, because without any leadership, you have chaos. You have chaos. You mean so and dismay. And we can't function with chaos. Chaos has to be put up under order.
Let me ask you a
Right
question.
now,
Now we know that leadership, when you talk about leadership, it's also leadership within the families too, right? Now stay on, Shake. The leaderships within the families too, right? So what about this continuity of single, single individuals, people being unmarried, remaining unmarried, making every excuse not to be married? Because if you look at the Muslim internet world, all you see is reasoning for people not to get married, right? And then what about the promotion of coming from Black American Muslim leaders that are promoting this idea and this belief that uh, Black men are incapable, they're lazy, they're bums? Don't they sound like the old slave masters? Because wasn't that the narrative that they were selling about our people after slavery? Walaikum salam to the catch. You
catch.
know, Black people were lazy. We brought you here to America to make you better people because you guys were lazy back home. Black people is this, Black people that. And now you're starting to see the bandwagon of the Black men, and most of the Black men that are committed to their families and their jamaats, along with those women that are committed in, you know, uh, working together and behaving in a cohesive manner in order to bring up a Muslim family. They don't really do a lot of talking; they do more action. But what's now is now you have the loudmouths, right, who's soapboxing all day, and this all that these brothers, they're bums and they can't pay for anything and they're punks, and the brother this, the brother that. So like the quickest way to get on now, it seems to get on a popular train, and it's the thing you got to be careful with when you're advocating and preaching Islam online, is that you don't end up clout chasing, right? So you want to get on. The quickest way to get on is to start attacking Black men. You tear down the fabric and the foundation of a society when you destroy Black men. You elevate Black men. You elevate the Muslim Ummah. We done had the headless household or the woman led household, right? And sisters been doing it to the best of their abilities. But however, Allah Ta'ala created the situation for us, for men to be in charge and lead on one role and the women to play a part on another role. Everybody has a role, right? And in order to focus. So, you got a bad leader, right? Or absent leader. We could tolerate anything, but we can't tolerate no leadership, right? Well, what about the families with no husband or wife? A bunch of children, no father present, bunch of children, no guidance present. Men don't have a vision. Men don't instill and build the type of woman they want, right? Because I'm reading a lot of the on the algorithms. You constantly hear what a man should be, but you never know. You never hear anything about the type of woman that the man wants to build. He doesn't have a vision for his family. And a lot of times, this often is a reflection because our children and our wives, a lot of them, their behavior, thinking, and everything resembles that of the kuffar. They have the same mind frame, the same scheme, right? The same, the same thing. So how about that in tie? Don't they run like parallel? That's really like my question, because you have those, you have this element, and everybody wants to beat down black men. Oh, you ain't got enough money, right? It's a man that's married, he has children, but he gets no respect from nobody. You know, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that. You know,
Um, I've heard that term before. Uh, Black people are lazy, right? And I've heard it from other black people. I've heard it from foreigners, right? I've heard it from West Africans and East Africans. But what I come to realize about that statement, uh, that analysis, that black people are lazy, in some regard, I can agree. And the reason why I say I can agree, because many black people are emotionally and spiritually lazy. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the work. And this and this type of mentality, it trickles into into the family. It trickles into different family structures. You look at some Muslim families, that I know you've seen it as well. I've seen it, to where it's a large Muslim family, and they survive. The children grow up in the same society as the non-Muslim children grow up in, and the household is maintained in the Islamic household is maintained, to where the children, they don't lose their children to gangs. The daughters end up getting married. You know what I'm saying? You have different success stories, and you have uh different other stories that's not success stories. But you have, they raised up in the same society, and that's due to having a solid, firm structure that the mother and the father, have established for the family. The children come home, before doing their homework. They go over Quran, or they go over Hadith, or they go over Sirah, and then after that 30 minutes or an hour, then they do their homework from school. After that, they go play. And you have stories to where, this is being established. This type of order is being established, but due to peer pressure from their peers, the boys, they fall, the young men, the boys, they fall into certain things, and the women, they fall into certain things. Now, the promotion of marriage should always, the issue that we're having now today is that marriage is being promoted, but it's not being promoted on the spectrum and the scale on what it takes, how it has to be done to stay married, right? To stay married. How, marriage is being promoted, but it's being promoted on on a scale to where it's only the transaction, not the
can
actual living.
can I interject 1 second?
Yeah.
I think people are promoting how to stay married, but it's not connected to Allah and His Messenger. Most of the things that you hear about people trying to stay married, it usually has to do with money. Men ain't got no money. If you ask most young men, what is it that you need, in order for your family, what you have planned for your family, the only thing that I say is, inshallah, I'll provide, you know, and that's all that's it. or provide what? They'll say, oh, just, money, make sure she got a roof over her head and things of that nature. She wears her garbs. See, we have the same problem we had before we were Muslim as black people. We accept the bare minimum and we build off of that, right? It's almost like when people used to be into church, and as long as you had your cross on, people stopped going to church a long time ago. As long as you rocked your cross, that symbolized that you were still part of, Christ-like, right? And so you have the same thing now, which is deep, which is elaborate. I want you to elaborate a little bit on the lazy spiritually, which I do agree with you 110%. And it's not about work, because we'll go to work. We'll go to work. We want a flat screen TV, or we'll go to work for that. You want 20 grams? I mean, 20 grand. We'll scam for that, right? But when it comes to spiritual upliftment and improvement, we want the idea of looking like a student of knowledge, of looking like we belong to Ahl Sunnah, sounding like we belong to these things, but the behavior, we don't want no parts of that. And that comes from an actual laziness, right? A lot of things that, we happen, our heavy reliance, upon methods that are non-Islamic, we take them on because we're too lazy to practice too lazy spiritually to practice, those things that will elevate you Islamically. But then also it's still, and you agreeing with this doesn't take away from the initial question I asked, about that, because you do have what I call like the people who like to point out the obvious, right? And then they'll build a whole movement on this, right? And this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna let you finish saying what you were saying. If a household with a solid, foundational, structured, male-led household wasn't important, you would not have a ton of guns with a ton of bullets and our youth getting killed before they even finish high school. Many of them are dying at junior high. That's by plan. That's a continuation. That's continuity of the pharaonic scheme of yustahihum adnaihim, right? You elevate the women, or yustahihu as nisa'hum. I'm sorry. You elevate their women, where you you slaughter their abnaihim. You slaughter their men, right? When you have all of this crime, because most people, they just look at it like, I don't know what's wrong with these brothers. No, these are our offspring. We're not claiming them, right? We'll claim their academic accomplishments. We'll claim them when they make any type of positive accomplishment, but when it comes to the crimes committed, we want to disown them, right? We want to disown them. Don't make me look bad in my society, right? That's the only thing that we're concerned about. Because if this wasn't important, then this perpetuation of this killing would never stop. You kill 500 people a year in one city, 1,000 in another city. Every year, that's 1,500 people knocked off, right? And it just keeps going. Now, the thing is, when you look in the tafsir in the Quran about Fir'aun's advisors told him he can't just keep killing all the boys. He got to slow down. So they started killing them every other year, right? Well, if you look at it now, a lot of our boys they're not making it. They're not making it. You got three things that's affecting our young men: bullets, jail, and homosexuality. Bullets, jail, homosexuality. And then the propaganda behind, you ain't nothing, you ain't never gonna be nothing, you're a bum, you're a coward, you don't have no money. The only way that you show, right, that you love your wife is to give her X amount of dollars or give them a mahar. This is the only way. Could stop me if I'm wrong. They say that this is they promote this as a solution to stay married, correct? If you give a large dowry that's over this amount, X amount of money, you take the marriage serious, right? We even put a price tag on knowledge in the same manner. Like, yeah, if you make people pay for it, they take it serious. But if you just teach them, they don't come out. Which is kind of a little truth to it, but that shouldn't be the motivation. I know I'm a little babbling, but go ahead, Sheikh, inshallah.
Now, subhanallah, it's you hit quite a few points. A lot of some of the things you had mentioned. I mean, it's in a nutshell is due to actually living what we speak, walking how we talk it, right? So um, looking at how the general the makeup of the crime that are being committed, the murders and everything. This is a sign of the fall and decline of a community, the fall and decline of a people. Anytime you want to destroy a nation, you anytime you want to destroy a nation of people, what I'm saying, homosexuality is associated with it. Homosexuality is affecting our boys and our girls, right? And our girls. I mean, our men and our women, right? Murder. I mean, the crimes, and committing the crimes in itself is making the parents look bad, because this is a display of how we have failed our youth, um, in their upbringing, right? A successful marriage doesn't have a price tag put on it. I mean, a successful marriage has to involve work. Like, saying, successful business involves building that business. Well, it's the same. A successful family, a successful marriage, a successful community involves building. I mean, everyone has to put work in. The husband has to work at it. The wife has to work at it. At the same time, they both have to be consistent in rearing the children in the way that they should be raised. I mean, because if the children doesn't see the parents implementing and practicing what we're supposed to be practicing, then they're gonna follow suit. They're gonna imitate and do the same thing, unless Allah Subhanahu wa Taala uh, gives them the ability to surpass the parents, right? To surpass the parents. So you mean the we even putting the price tag on knowledge. There's no price tag on knowledge. Gaining knowledge, it takes effort and work as well. What I'm saying? It takes effort and work as well. And if the individual doesn't have the tools, they have what I'm saying, they have to be connected with people that they can actually give them the tools that they need to obtain knowledge. To obtain knowledge, um, and that's not they're not going to be able to obtain that being an individual. Now you look at uh, how the times have changed by decades. Right now we're in the second part of the third part of the 2020s, right? We're in the 2020s now. The 2010s, which is 10 years ago. Well, yeah, the 2010s, which is 10 years ago, is way different than it is now. The 2000s was way different than it is now. The 80s, the 90s, and the 80s and the 70s, you see a rise. I think the apex, and then from the apex it starts to decline. The reason the other reason that we fail our youth. A lot of Muslim youth are involved in crimes and killing and everything, is because instead of we don't take the work outside of the masjid. I mean, we don't go to the street corners. That's where our youth is at. They're in the street. I mean, the youth is not going to come to the masjid. We gotta bring the masjid to them. And that's the only way we're going to be able to, like, combat that. You can't combat that just sitting on the minbar. You can't combat that just sitting in the halakas inside the masjid. You got to take it out to the streets. The taking it to the streets is the real work. And taking it to the streets, you gotta be able to articulate to the youth, and articulate to the youth, and spark their interest to where they will be willing to come to the come to the masjid. But first, we gotta go get them, right? We gotta go get them. We can't stay secluded. So because they may come and they're gonna leave, right? A lot generally the way that our people is, our people need something to be a part of, and as soon as something is not really going on, they leave. They get disenchanted. They lose interest very fast, and then they go back to doing what is easier and common for them. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What is easier, right? So um we have to be more active. How many conferences we're gonna have, to where we're talking about certain issues, and we're not actually addressing the issues, meaning that we're not actively going out and resolving and solving, what I'm saying, bringing a solution to them issues, right? Other than that, we just gonna be getting together to have a social gathering and talk about certain things without anything actually crystallizing.
Sometimes I think we just overdoing it. It's almost like, you know how people have birthday parties, and okay, like, no, better example, proms, right? People have these big proms. Some people's prom is bigger than others. Some people have these big lavish proms, overdo it. Sometimes I think that the solution to some of our problems are so simple, but we don't want to accept simplicity. We want something extravagant, right? So, like sometimes we talk about, oh, we need an economic plan for black people, right? The economic plan is two ways, at least at the beginnings phase, right? What's the two ways? Either acquire a skill set or start a business. That's it, right? Everything else, you have to learn the Sharia for that to make sure that what you're doing is permissible, right? But it's just that simple. Like if you look at the blueprint, people love to, make reference back to the NOI days and things of that nature. Like, oh, they had a program. Alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. They had this program. They had an economic program. What did they do? Sold bean pies, newspapers, fish. They were entrepreneurs, right? And they had many lawyers, doctors, and professionals. We don't have skill sets that where we make ourselves marketable. When you have a skill set, you make yourself marketable, even if the person don't even hire you, right? Most of us, we go from one struggling job to the next struggling job. You might get a job, like when, and I can tell you this from personal experience. I remember back in the day, you were like, man, I'm looking for a job. So you always knew you could always get a security job, or you can get a job at whatever retail store, right? And black people, we like the retail kings and queens, right? You can always get that. But one job that was always offering more than the retail job and all the other jobs was always a telemarketing job, right? Telemarketing, you always had a telemarketing job. But dudes that went telemarketing, did telemarketing work, we didn't make no full check. If you made it 3 months, we'd be like, damn, you doing good over there, right? And especially when they offer you that commission and all those things. But, I'm drifting just a little bit. But my case in point is market, right? Marketable jobs. This has been discussed way back in the day. Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois used to go back and forth about this stuff, right? Which is funny because I think in today's time, the United Negro Muslims of America, whatever the hell y'all want to call yourself today, I think they're doing the same thing. They still got the Marcus Garvey versus W.E.B. Du Bois, and W.E.B. Du Bois versus what's the name? Booker T. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening. And then they turn their nose up at each other. We're trying to create a middle class, the bourgeois, you know. And so these things happen. These are the people that's turning their nose up on the people who's trying, the people that's poor, that's dedicating themselves, right? And then what happens is when you mix the two of them together and they split themselves up, those people that don't have it, they're looking up to them, and so soon as they get money, they deem change too. Right? So this thing is almost like, it's almost like a toxic plan that we got, unleashed amongst us, and we're not dealing with these things realistically. Sound economy, you can build a lot more institution wise, but we're trying to build institutions and we don't support them. Right? We try to build institutions, and then others that's trying to build their institution befriend you, and then after that they start stabbing you in the back, and spreading poison about you, and this person and that person is this and that. And then also that same method that those backstabbers are using, they're using the same method in splitting up Muslim households or keeping people from getting together. Because the more dysfunction there is, right? The more dysfunction, be leery of that person that promotes, this, ain't nobody good enough for you. Because the only person that benefits from single women is the good old Imam, because she dedicates her money to the Lord. She becomes married to the Imam. The thought of the Imam turns her on, right? May not never marry him, but just the thought of it turns her on, right? Meanwhile, she looking at the other brothers on the rug like, you can't even afford my dowry, sucker. You see what I'm saying? So, the onslaught, I think the focus need to be from this point on, at least on our platform, what we promoting, solid family and sound knowledge, and mujahida, thorough actions. Anything outside of that, we just like pissing, just spitting in the ocean. I ain't I mean, like, overpower. We build him, and so that's just how I see it. But go ahead, proceed on, Shay. I'm sorry.
Everything cool, city. I mean, it's cool. You could have continued. Um, like I was saying, like you had brought up a serious point too, in regards to like building economics. I mean, having a solid firm economic base. Um, it's the blueprint, and it's the blueprint and affording to building wealth. Many people don't understand how wealth is. They don't understand how money works, right? Um, so many people think that getting a good paying, high paying job is what's going to bring you wealth. Actually, your wealth has nothing to do with the income that you make, right? Wealth has to do with, you ever heard an individual, or heard an individual, they say that their net worth is so many million. Well, then there's also instances where your net worth can be in the negative, and how that works is that you subtract the debt, and the debt, and the loan, and the debt from the principal, and then it bring you into the negative. So a person, they could they've made like millions, but due to their assets, and their debt, it brings them into the negative. Now, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he always mentioned wealth with children. Children is associated with your wealth, right? One of my mentors, he was giving a lecture, and he had said, "Let me show you my wealth." What he did, he showed us a picture of his family, and he said, the one who made all of this possible is that little guy right there. And he told the story. He said, "I was married for 18 years. We had 8 children. The last child was special needs, right? My wife, she wasn't ready to deal with it. So as a father, I had to make sure that my children was all right. So with him being special needs, I was in and out of the hospital. I couldn't work my career job, because I'm in and out of the hospital dealing with an ill special needs child. So what I did, I had started. I got with some people, and they showed me how to do this business. As a result of this, I'm able to help other people, and that little guy right there made things all possible. So you look at the how, so that's one perspective on how we look at wealth. The economy is built off of the efforts of the community, meaning that our money that we consume, it has to generate in the community before it leaves the community, right? It was this Jew. He had a dollar. He said, "You see this dollar right here? You would never see this dollar, right? Because this dollar is gonna go to a Jew who's gonna send it. And that one is gonna go to another Jew, and that's gonna go to a Jewish bank. And then when it come out of the Jewish bank, it's gonna go this company. So it's gonna pass around the community 8, 9, 10 times before this dollar leaves."
Now, this is the thing. How do you develop these kind of things when you have a creed connected to these things too? I'm gonna show you an example. You're talking about keeping a dollar in a circle, right? But most people promote let's spend the dollars. They're advocating. And think about it. The Quran is supposed to be listened to, right? And it's oft repeated. It's repeated ayats and verses over and over, right? And the more you listen to the Quran, the more it becomes embedded in the heart, right? And the more it's embedded in the heart, the more actions you'll take in order to gain what Allah Ta'ala promises you, right? Well, think about the music you listen to. The same songs play on the radio all day and all night. They may have a certain time dedicated for soft music, softer music, and this hour is rap music. This hour is house music. This hour is for reggae music. They keep all of the bring all of the different ears together. The dump poison in them because all of the songs they have the same thing. Now think about a man who's trying to accumulate wealth. Now there's music where you hear the lyrics is motivating you to get money, but it's also motivating you to waste the money, right? And then and so it gets you at one point of consciousness, and then it takes the other. Now, when we as Muslims, when we're talking about wealth and how we should describe wealth, is what Allah Ta'ala put tax on, whatever Allah Ta'ala put zakat on. You have money with gold and silver or whatever the case is, right? You have assets, business assets, whatever trucks you own, for your company, your animals that you own. If you own land, that is true wealth. That's true wealth. The money you make that is zakatable, that you pay zakat on, that's considered wealth. Because if you didn't have that, then you don't pay nothing on it. Then you're considered miskin, you're considered poor. Right? So you have to Islamicize our mind frame too when it comes to these things. And so sometimes we miss the boat. We got to make ourselves competitive in the market, right? And then the rest has to be knowledge, and it has to be gaining taqwa so that we act on our knowledge. You know what I mean? This is the shift of dynamic, and this ain't no overnight process. A lot of times speakers are giving you speeches about stuff where it's a quick fix. We used to call it rolling up ayats and smoking them. You're getting high, right? Then that high comes down eventually, and you gotta go look for something else to smoke to get high again. And so basically, you spend most of your time, right? Like if you listen on most scales, Islam is kind of like already like jigsawed out. And if you want to hear one thing, this, you go to this master to hear that. You want to go that, you go to that master to hear that. You don't never hear really complete deen, right? And you don't really hear people pushing the concept of Jama'at. You hear people talking about we need nationality, we need this, but they don't want leadership. See, this is why I don't mess with the Muslim community now. Dudes like a bunch of quitters, and so you can't grow like that. Our families are quitters. We quit on our families immediately. We don't give a person a chance to fail. They fail before they even got in the door. So these are the things that's plaguing us, and how we're going to move forward. Move forward is the solution is with Allah and His Messenger. And that's one thing I find unique about the dawah of Sheikh Uthman Danfodio, Ameen. He was only concerned about revival of the deen. And when you read about it, he was so concerned about the Prophet Sallallahu and his sunnah being revived, you'd have thought they didn't work. But the Sheikh who used to sell rope. He would get his product, get his merch while he's teaching class. He was braiding up the rope and things that he was about to get ready to go out and sell after class. Right? So it shows you that you have to have some kind of skill set. You have to have a plan. Right? And most of our young men, because a lot of the Western, I don't know about overseas, but I can tell you what's going on in the Western hemisphere. We trying to live off them honorariums. We want that envelope. And then we get a bunch of single women to finance and back our movement. We got to keep calling the men bums and, cowards and all these other things. It's a hustle. It's a hustle. It reminded me of Reverend Ike, man. My great grandmother used to love Reverend Ike. Well, she had the Reverend Ike money oil, Reverend Ike calendar, right? She died alone, She was, she died. I think she was like in her 90s. Everything Reverend Ike, Reverend Ike broadcast, and it's the same thing now. You don't see nobody promoting anybody to have a successful marriage. You want to have a successful marriage? We don't even bring the Prophet Sallallahu in it no more. We start talking about the money and psychology. What the DSM says. She got multiple personality disorders and everything. You'd be like, all right, well, when y'all gonna get to the Islam? What Islam? That was the Islam we live. We becoming Muhammad Abdul. I see the Muslims, but I don't see no Islam. And this was happening to us. This was happening. So I think the thing is that we have to just go back, to the beginning. Because when I became Muslim, what I seen was OGs, old gangsters became Muslim. It was man, woman, and child. Man, woman, and child. He wasn't running the streets no more. He had his kufi on, good smelling oils. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to stop smoking them Newports. You know what I mean? That's what I seen. Now what you see now is, what do you call it? Pooh Shiesty mask with Izars on. I dream of Genie Kimars, BBLs and everything else, man. So, somewhere we have to begin to change, but the people they gotta come to the deen. They gotta come to the deen. They gotta come to it and want to change. They can't just be, just all right, alhamdulillah, I'm Muslim. That's just like going to church and getting saved. Get dunked in some water in the name of the blood, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the grape juice, and everything else. Right? We got to do better than that. We got to do that. It got to be better than lip service. But I think I'm going to dedicate a whole show one day to grind up these charlatan leaders. The charlatan students of knowledge, the charlatan sheikhs, because these guys are frauds. They're frauds. And the thing is, also, is what's lacking in the Sunni community. We're not calling people away from innovation. We're not calling them away from bid'ah. We pushing them towards it, and we don't say anything about it. We just let them think it's okay to do it. And so, it has to be about the Prophet Sallallahu. It's just like Malcolm said. I agree with this wholeheartedly. The thing that will help, that's going to help Black people as a group of people, is Islam, and you have to have some sort of Black identity, like nationally, some sort of identity, right? I don't care if your tribe is the Muslim tribe. It has to be an identity. The only thing we do by default, we be Muslim, but we're Euro-Americans. We're European Americans in lifestyle. European American lifestyle. And we hold our standards up to them versus holding it up to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That don't be our standard. It just be, we hold it up to their standards. And this is why we at where we at now. So this shows you there's really no benefit in trying to mix and match, put Islam and Kufr together at the same time and see if you can come up with a Muslim American baby. That ain't gonna work. So, I'm kind of tapped out, man. If if you got something to add.
I'm kind of tapped out as well too. I thought we was gonna have our other two guests on here, but
I ain't expecting today. But the thing is this: we changed our time. We now on Saturdays. We're gonna be on Saturdays, 8:30 every Saturday, inshallah. And then we also still gonna, continue our classes. I think starting Thursday at like 7:30. Imam Malik Robinson is gonna continue doing the Sirah classes. So there'll be more content added to our page, inshallah.
All right. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati ma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين والصلاه والسلام على رسول الكريم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق وقاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراط المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره مقدار العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget to hit the like button, share and subscribe. Share to your platforms. Hit the notification bell so you can get the notifications when we go on live on YouTube and on Facebook, and follow our page, Tajdeed Sunnah Institute.
Our website too now, the domain name has changed. It used to be mastermanfolio.com. It's now tajdeedsunnah.org. Tajdeedsunnah.org.
Okay.
On there you can find, we're still reconstructing and remodeling everything, but you'll find the information about our Master Folio, the bookstores on there. Our bookstore, some of our classes, our recorded classes, our Friday Jumas. If that we record, most of our Jumas are audio. We put it on SoundCloud. Sometimes we upload to YouTube, and I even started uploading it to TikTok. However, but you can always go there and click, and it'll take you to our current Juma every Friday, inshallah. And then also you can always go listen on SoundCloud. We got classes for days. We got a crazy catalog of classes: Maliki Fiqh, Aqidah, Sirah,
to Soullutionz.
It's just endless. We've been doing this for a long time. So, inshallah, put that out there, and share with your people, think this message was a good message, share it, get some likes. I ain't got no likes today. I ain't get one like. Got 8 people on. Let me get a like. I don't care what platform you're using. Let me get a like. We can see it. We can see it when you got your live. So, let us get a like. Get a, yeah, there we go. I got 1 like. Let's get a like. We should at least have 10 likes. 10 likes
right.
All hard, right? You gotta show love.
Don't make us do the thumb dance.
The thumb dance. Don't make me do it now. Don't make me do it. Oh, also too, on Thursday, low key, my brother, our location is in North Philly. I'm gonna have more details for you on the next program, inshallah. But one of our brothers, Abdul Malik, Kwame Abdul Malik, he's teaching Usuluddin and going over the Hadith of Jibril, inshallah, throughout the week. So we're gonna have the list of information for you, But I only see 1 like with my next like. I don't see 1 like. I need 1 more. Who this? Because they about to be on here by themselves. Who this? Who is this? Can't even see him right now. Hold on. My man Saleh Abdul Mujeeb. Bro, we about to leave, right?
No, I don't know y'all about to leave. I was on the journey. What's going on, y'all?
Maybe we'll get some more likes now that you done came on here.
Oh yeah, Mr. Petty Draws is on. What's going on? How's everything going? What's up with your background, man? You looking like
yeah.
You see him he must learn how to do something new.
That's right. Yo, hey, yo, you know what? Gosh, man, we supposed to be out of here. Here you come, man. Trying to start.
Nah, man, we got a half an hour, man. Come on, man.
I'm burnt out. Shit, you gonna leave you up here? But look, brother, mention something. I do want to mention this. I was talking about it yesterday. The young boy that escaped from jail, they called him up North Philly in Albaya, right? And so, brothers, most people outside of Philly, I don't know, they kind of like in their mind, they got this fixation about Philly, like as if it's like Mecca or Medina, right? It might be the closest thing you will get inside of Black ghetto America, right? But with the location, Mecca and Medina, you still got Negroes in bully clothes. So that's always, that's always going to play a part. But, alhamdulillah, even though dudes be trying to hide in Muslim women's garbs and things of that nature, Allah Ta'ala doesn't support evil. Regardless, if the brother is Muslim or not, he's still doing a evil thing, especially by trying to hide under, our sisters.
But can you imagine a 6'1" young
But
boy walking around?
They got some tall sisters now, but
so I mean, he must have been switching and everything. He had to put on the whole.
He was just trying to live in the hood, man.
No, I'm talking about just walking. Like if he walking, like you gotta I gotta go get something to drink. He got to put some little pip in his step. To make it.
I'm gonna tell you what's even funnier. You wanna know what's funnier than me? We emphasize on that, but I've been in matches, even matches that we were the administration of in the past, where we had people who were females pretending to be men sitting on the brother's side. She had a low cut, low Caesar, little one, whatever y'all call it. Without coming with a Caesar, had a nice little Caesar, little butter soft leather, you know what I mean? Some Timbs with a kufi on, and sitting there. And listen, the whole match there was like, oh, astaghfirullah. You know what I'm saying? So like you had that kind of stuff, man. You had that. So but I guess because it made the news about the bull was trying to hide out from the police, and he was hiding under a buyer. That's how he was moving and transporting. Alaikum salam until they catch him. How he was shaking and baking. But evil people do evil things.
But I know one thing for sure, to keep it on the jokey side, because then I'm gonna get serious. He's gonna leave his family rich for the rest of their life, brother. He is gonna sign a contract to his life. That is a lifetime special, bro. The young boy was a serial killer, escaped prison.
Oh, they didn't catch him yet.
They didn't catch that one?
No, they caught the petty drug dealer.
Oh, bro, bro, yeah, they about to make a movie out of this. This is. I'm going to support that, dog. I'm. What's her Oprah Winfrey channel called? That joint gonna be a classic, bro. Yo, they didn't catch the murderer. And they didn't catch him yet. Oh man, this is gonna be a movie. This is gonna be a movie, bro.
They locking everybody up but him.
But all jokes aside, is it for people who did live in the city, are y'all shocked because just in early 2000s that the men went into the banks in Abayas, and then there was another guy that killed somebody on 22nd Street. They had like a little burger spot. You remember that burger spot on 22nd Street near Masjid Hasher?
Which burger spot? I can't remember.
It was a Muslim burger spot right there. They used to sell burgers right there, and they closed it because another guy ran up in there in a Abaya and shot somebody and killed somebody. Yeah, so this isn't shocking that that goes on in that city, but to me it just shows that if the Muslims don't step up and put some sort of sincerity inside of the Islam that goes on in that city, there's no telling. That's a Commonwealth state. They can lay the smack down on everyone and say you can't wear a niqab anymore, a khimar anymore.
They never did that. Even when it was happening more frequently, the only thing they did was they made a law to add more time onto the person who does a crime in religious garbs. So that's all everybody did. You know where that joy come from? That's that slave mentality. Mats are gonna let us do it, and Mats are gonna take it away. Nah, dude, we wear this because this is what we believe in. And that's and that's how it used to be. The spirit is leaving now.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And we're not standing for nothing anymore. And they could lay the smackdown on that state, because it's a Commonwealth state. They can make a law specifically for these type of things. You can't wear these in the store, and you can't do nothing about it. So, we have to, as Muslims, man, we have to really shun this type of stuff, and understand that we got to start putting Islam in the hearts of the next generation. Because these 18 and 20-year-olds, man, if you really sit down and talk to them, they don't believe in nothing. And his name may be Muhammad, Amir, Ahmed, Abdullah, Abdul Malik. It could be any type of name, man. And these is Muslim names and their family Muslim. But these young guys, you start talking to them, I don't believe in nothing. They say they're on demon time. So these kids is acknowledging this type of time. This is dang near worship of the devil, man. And these kids is on that type of, movement. So we got to start, as Muslims, we got to start laying the smack down and really start understanding us as the adults. We got to start implementing it. Even if we, still a sinning Muslim, we got to make sure it's known that, I am Muslim. I'm proud to be, even though I fall short. Because other than that, these type of things should not be acceptable in our community. It should not be acceptable. And it's a dangerous game that we playing. I don't know if anyone else. I'm tired of seeing these young 17, 18-year-old kids getting, that these people got to watch these young boys' bodies, and they shot 50-something times because these young boys running around with sticks and switches on their Glocks.
Yeah.
Parents, y'all not tired of that, parents? You're not tired that men got to watch their kids and they see them with 30, 20-some bullets inside of them? Are we still proud of that? Are we still acknowledging, like, that's cool? That we, like, when we're outside, once we leave inside our doors, it's just we turn into a whole different person. We on that type time. Is that cool? Because if you still accept it, just be prepared that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have something for us. Whether it's in this world or in the hereafter.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go, man, Khalil, man. I'm sorry, I died today, but I gotta still.
No, it's all good, man. Relaunch, we just like, we'll just be on next week, inshallah. We have something.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'll be here, man. I'll be here.
All right,
Abu Muhammad, what's going on with you, man? What's up with you, Abu Muhammad?
No, not much, man. I was just looking at my page, man, looking on my timeline, and seeing people on there, man. Subhanallah. May Allah Ta'ala help us, man. May Allah Ta'ala help us, help the Ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's all I'm gonna say, man. We in some bad shape, man. We got to get it together.
Yeah, we definitely do.
We got to get it together, man. I mean, man, people really need to be real. They really need to be who they are. Not who they perceive themselves to be. Because it's people out here that actually know the real you, and you can't fool them. You can fool others, but you can't fool them, and you can't fool Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what I'm saying? Sooner or later, Allah Ta'ala gonna expose you, and no one else has to say anything about it. But Allah Ta'ala gonna make it be known. He gonna expose you, and you know what I'm saying? Just keep on frauding. Just keep on frauding. Matter of time, the gig gonna be up, and everybody gonna be able to see. So yeah, inshallah, man. I already made the dua, so everybody, man, have a nice, good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.